We're at 6211 Cheviot Road. This is a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a multi-unit apartment complex. There's one building. There are two stacks, but the other one is inaccessible on the upstream of this one. This one is in the laundry room in the back of one of the storage units, and we're going through the clean out about halfway up the stack. And this should push us out towards Cheviot Road. We're going just looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, broken pipes, anything of that nature that may be of concern to the buyer. So we will we'll stop and make note and locate if necessary any issues we find, and we'll also speak as much as we can about what we find. Okay, so it looks like it's all PVC, which is good. Means it's new enough to means it should be PVC all the way out. Turns. We do have a belly here, about 33 feet. Oh man, it's like a fairly deep belly here. It is over the top of the pipe, and it's as it most likely exits the building here. It goes into clay. Clay was probably the original material. Again, we're into a small belly. That camera lens is only about a ½ inch off the bottom of the pipe, so it's not very, the lens isn't very high. So I think what I'm going to end up doing here is I'll probably end up having to put this on a standoff on the front of this camera so that we can have a better idea of what's going on. But I'm going to try to push out. I may end up just doing a second video on this with the standoff on it. Because I could just have stuff in front of the camera. Yeah, see, there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push all the way out, and we'll continue recording on the pullbacks. Sometimes you can just see a lot better when you pull back because you're not pushing stuff up against the front of the camera. As you can tell, flashes. We did have a belly at about 33 feet. So this is probably an 8-inch coming out of the unit. It's not a 6 that would be normal for a house. So there could be a little more water in the bottom of the pipe. The flow line would naturally be higher than that of a 6-inch pipe with the amount of bathrooms and tenants. Looks like we're getting ready to dive into the main now. There we go. So we are looking down into the main, actually touching the bottom of the main there. Go a little bit slower as we come back, and hopefully we have a lot better picture of what was going on. This all looks good so far. With clay lines, you're looking for, things that might be broken or separation at the connections, because there's normally a connection about every 3 feet or so. So far all this clay looks really good. And some spider webs, that's about it. Okay, so here's that spot. It's hard to tell. 65 feet. So we'll try to remember that. 65 feet. I didn't run into any solids in that area, which means it's flowing through there. I wasn't obstructed at all. The camera wasn't, I didn't get any resistance, but so this could just slightly be above the camera head and not be much of a belly for an 8-inch pipe, but I think I'm going to have to go get a standoff and re-inspect at least the first 65 feet or so. Yeah. I think we just have a flat spot in the line right after they connected the PVC, and when they made this repair, there's still a belly, a small belly where they put the new PVC in and made the connection to the existing clay. Looks like we're going to have to go back and inspect from about 30 feet out to about 65 feet there with a standoff on the camera. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll go get the standoff needed to make the adjustment, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have a standoff on the camera. We're hoping this will give us enough
height because the opening on the clean out's a little smaller, so I can't actually get the big standoff through the hole. So we're using a little bit smaller one. It does give it some height, but not as it doesn't center it as well as the larger standoff. So we have a little bit of stuff from the camera here. We're going to push out to that like 65. Hopefully we can get a little bit cleaned off here. There we go. So we do know that about 30 feet is where this stuff starts. 32, 33 feet. And again, we didn't see any solids in that belly, which means with the amount of water flow that we're getting in the pipe, that it is overtaking the belly. And then right here is where we were underwater the entire time. It goes into an 8-inch, it looks like. From about here out to about 60 feet were the deepest spots. It's just kind of caught on the edge there. Looks like we have some grease buildup right here, and that's because of the water sitting here. There were no large solids, so it's not blocking the flow line, but I think it could use a good cleaning. Because of this water sitting here longer, the grease separates easier, sticks to the side of the pipe. And then we do have, this is even deeper than the other spot there. Do is I'm actually going to mark this. I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to go get a locate and mark where this belly is for reference, and then we'll have this can be analyzed by a licensed plumber to see if they feel, or also they can, the buyer can reference this also as far as like I said, there's no solids sitting down in this, which means that the water is most likely it's got enough pressure on it and amount of water because of all the units that it's pushing the stuff through and all the way down to the line. It doesn't look like there's any backups, but it is definitely something that needs to be called out, just because it is a technical defect as far as it being a belly, and it's over 2 inches, which is about how high my camera is in that pipe. So that's a fairly good size belly. So again, I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to turn the transmitter on. I'm going to pause it and go get a locate where the belly ends and where the belly begins. Okay, it's about that mark at the end of the belly is about 6 feet before the sidewalk. It's 9 foot 2 inches deep to the top of the pipe approximately. And so we're going to continue here and pull back to the beginning of the belly. Now again, I am underwater with a standoff on the camera. So this is kind of borderline, but you can see the buildup. At the very least, I think there should be needs to be cleaned, probably jetted to get some of the grease built off. It's not an emergency, but because of the water sitting in this belly, you can see the grease accumulation on the side of the pipe there. about 50 feet maybe. So we're going to stop here, get a locate here also. Hold on a second here, I want to get a look. It's roughly about 50 feet. So we'll stop and get this is the beginning of it. So we get the locate here. I'm gonna pause the video again so we don't have dead airspace. Okay. That one's maybe 15 feet off the front of the building. Also marked with the flag. It says 8 foot 4 inches deep to the top of the pipe. And I think that's the largest area of concern. In between about 50 feet and 65. I mean, there is a smaller belly that, you know, is from about the end of the plastic in the building, you know, out to that point. But you can see, I can at least, you know, it's way below the halfway point of the pipe, and it's a lot shorter. But in any case, all both the bellies, neither one of them had solids resting on the bottom, which is good. It means that there's enough flow that's pushing all the solids through the pipe. But it is obviously a spot of note, just to make sure that that's something that's paid attention to if there is ever a backup. And I recommend that you know, have a licensed plumber. You know, take a look at this video and give their full assessment as to how serious that is, because it's kind of a judgment call at that point. If it hasn't, you know, you don't really know if it's backed up recently. It doesn't look like it has. So, but other than that, I mean, structurally, as far as, you know, the pipe, all the connections and all the and the pipe is intact. So no root intrusion, nothing like that. So this could have been that way for, you know, 30 years, who knows. But in any case, that's it's going to have to be pushed on for further assessment. But that's the end of the inspection at 6211 Cheviot Road.